I could bring up the amount of people telling me to do this or some other reasoning that sets up the transition into my thoughts about the fight, but before I do anything, I want to say two things. One, good animation. Two, Kenshiro deserves to win. Many people think I'm down to advocate for something that I hold interest in even though it straight up loses, and that's just not the case. I'm just here to give some thought on the whole thing. So, the first thing that confuses me is that there are many parts of Jotaro and all of them being mixed into one. I can see that with how they mention Jotaro being 40, using part 3 Jotaro as the main form, and then bringing up part 4 Jotaro feats. It's extremely odd with how this is done, and you could have just mentioned at the end of Stardust Crusaders Jotaro and just called it a day. I mean, I'm not exactly sure on why you're making Jotaro and Kenshiro fight anyways, but, you know, there's a huge gap between there. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of characters for either one of those characters mentioned to go against them in other franchises, but I'm sure that this was done due to early Phantom Blood holding cadence towards anime like Fist of the North Star, and Stardust Crusaders really isn't Phantom Blood at all. So, pushing that to the side, speaking on the feats and things mentioned, one thing that I actually will bring up for people that are going to say, but they're just generalizing Jotaro because it just makes him whole-rounded. You wouldn't say that old Joseph Joestar and young Joseph Joestar are the same person. They're two completely different people. Obviously, they're actually the same person, but when you think about the comparison between Part 3 Jotaro and Part 4 Jotaro, you have one that's continuously using his stand and getting better and thinking more, versus Part 4 Jotaro, who hasn't used the stand in an extremely large amount of time and had his time stop reduced. It's just different. But, onto the feat. You guys had mentioned the Stardust Crusaders OVA and used it as a valid feat when the OVA doesn't even classify as an alternate universe in JoJo. It was just a different or wrong take depending on how you're viewing it. You also follow up in saying that Star Platinum over Heaven is contradictory to the primary source when Eyes of Heaven is an alternate universe in the realm of JoJo. It's just separated in the sense that it's not made to mess with where we are now in the manga or anime. And JoJo has already shown its well amount of involvement in an alternate universe, especially since where we are now isn't even the rewritten universe that continues on from our original parts 1 through 6. Eyes of Heaven is as canon as it could get, and with a storyline like that, plus there'd be no point to convert it into a manga or anime with how it doesn't progress like the other rest of the parts once it ends. Last note on that, if you're going to use the OVA, you might as well have just used Eyes of Heaven. It's Eyes of Heaven actually holds water. Now on to the feats. I noticed how a large amount of context just wasn't mentioned at all. The first thing was that Jotaro was being outsmarted by other stand users for using Time Stop. In the fight against Rat, Jotaro was training Josuke in his skills on range since both Crazy Diamond and Star Platinum are close range stands, but Jotaro has more experience due to what happened in Stardust Crusaders. Jotaro wasn't trying to kill Rat, he was just trying to bait it out so Josuke could hit his mark. If Jotaro wanted Rat dead, he would have no reason on trying to get close to it when he can just shoot the same way that Josuke did and do it better. Now, on the light speed argument. It was made to seem that Polnareff couldn't beat Jay Guile without the plan when it goes both ways for Jay Guile. Originally, Polnareff had believed that Hangman was a stand that lived in all of Reflections, and that's why he couldn't beat him. Once Kakyoin had guided him, he had figured out that Hangman is actually not how he thought it worked, and proceeded to beat him by countering him. This goes further on into the plot, but Polnareff was forced into a circle of people and couldn't slash freely around him. Along with that, Jay Guile had a lot of reflections to move through, and since those people had ended up forcing Polnareff into this extremely difficult situation, in the end he had to beat out Hangman before he got to his next reflection. But it wasn't even a race to the coin. Silver Chariot had blitzed Hangman and had the timing and precision completely down to a T, so that's with reading his opponent, and that's how any fighter does it. The difference is, Hangman had nothing to counter back. When you have Silver Chariot versus Star Platinum, it was constant back and forth clashes along with Jotaro holding back and not trying to kill his friend. And this is against a possessed dual-wielding Silver Chariot with his armor off on one of his shoulders. And what they didn't mention is that Silver Chariot is a stand that, wherever his armor is off, his speed is more than doubled. Star Platinum being able to combat all of that while holding back would for sure put him ahead of the speed of light. Now, whether or not if you want to incorporate light speed punches into how much force that would do for said punches, which that's some nuclear bombs right there, that's just something separate from the feats mentioned. There's a lot of feats to approach with when you have Jotaro. I have a lot of them in my video going about the strength of Jotaro, how strong is Jotaro outside of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and there's no mentions of other forms there. It's just Stardust Crusaders Jotaro. But that's just going to be it for me. I have nothing to mention with Kenshiro since I was whatever with his side, but since I believe that There's probably going to be someone coming out with more Fist of the North Star knowledge than me. I just do know that there's a couple of things that just don't work the way that they do in the video. But that's just going, I'm not going to be the one to do so. So that's going to be it for me. And at the same time, a lot of people are going to ask, well, Caleb, are there moments where Jotaro can beat Kenshiro? Yes, there's multiple ways. With how easily how they brought up phasing through the body and how that works, you can't be affected by time stop. You can't, other people will not affect you while you're the one doing the time stop. It doesn't make any sense. If you can stop time, you can stop time. The other person can't stop time, then they don't stop time. That's just how it works. He could easily just crush his heart with the force of 1,000 auras, and that would have just been the end of it there. But when it just comes to full-on hand-to-hand combat, that's just not the case, dog. So, thank you guys for watching. Kenshiro wins. Jotaro's corrected right now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.